Let's say you walk into a casino with $1,000. You're not reckless. You're not throwing money away. You've set a budget. You know your limit. You sit down at a blackjack table, play for a few hours, and walk out having lost most of it. You chalk it up to bad luck. Here's the thing. It probably wasn't bad luck. It was a number. A specific, calculated number that the casino knew before you sat down. A number that tells them, with mathematical certainty, roughly how much of your $1,000 they're going to keep. Today we're going to find that number. We're going to look at blackjack the way the casino does, as a long-term probability equation. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what a session at the blackjack table actually costs you. Not what you might lose, what you're statistically expected to lose. There's a difference, and it matters. I'm POW. This is the house math. Let's get into it. Every casino game in existence is built around one concept. It's called the house edge. The house edge is simply the percentage of every dollar wagered that the casino expects to keep, over time. Think of it like a silent partner who takes a cut of every single bet you make, win or lose, all night long. Here's where blackjack gets interesting, and why it's different from almost every other casino game. Blackjack, played correctly, has one of the lowest house edges of any game on the casino floor. Roughly 0.5%. That means for every $100 you bet, the casino expects to keep about 50 cents. That sounds almost nothing. And compared to other games, it is. Slot machines, house edge of 5 to 15%. Roulette, about 5.3% on an American wheel. Blackjack, 0.5%. So why do casinos make so much money on blackjack? Two reasons, and they're both in the math. Reason 1, that 0.5% only applies if you play what's called basic strategy perfectly. Basic strategy is a mathematically optimal set of decisions, when to hit, stand, double down, or split, based on your cards and the dealer's visible card. It was calculated in the 1950s using early computers and has been refined ever since. Most players don't use it. They play on gut instinct, hunches, or superstition. The moment you deviate from basic strategy, even slightly, the house edge climbs. For an average recreational player who's making gut feel decisions, the real house edge is closer to 2 to 3%. That's 4 to 6 times higher than the advertised 0.5%. Reason 2, volume. Blackjack tables deal fast. We'll get to exactly how fast in a moment. And when you see the number, it changes everything. Here's the mechanic most people completely miss when they think about casino math. It's not just the house edge that costs you money. It's the house edge multiplied by how many bets you make. A standard blackjack table, with a dealer and a few players, deals roughly 60 to 80 hands per hour. If you're playing heads up with just you and the dealer, that number climbs to 200 hands per hour or more. Let's use 80, a realistic number for a normal table. Here's what most people think is happening. They sit down with $1,000. They're betting $25 a hand. They think their $1,000 is at risk. Here's what's actually happening. At 80 hands per hour, betting $25 a hand, you're putting $2,000 into action every single hour. Not $1,000, $2,000 per hour. That $1,000 in your pocket isn't your exposure. It's your reserve tank. Your actual wagering volume, the number the house edge is being applied to, is far larger. This concept has a name: total action. Total action is the total dollar amount you wager across your entire session, not just your starting bankroll. And it's the number the casino cares about. Not what you walked in with, what you put into play. Now let's put it all together and find the number from the opening of this video. What a $1,000 session actually costs you statistically. We need 3 inputs. Input 1, your bet size. Let's say $25 per hand. Input 2, hands per hour. We'll use 80. Input 3, house edge. We'll use 2%. That's realistic for a player making occasional gut feel decisions, not perfect basic strategy. Total action per hour. $25 times 80 hands equals $2,000. Expected loss per hour. $2,000 times 2% equals $40. $40 an hour. Every hour, like clockwork. Now let's say you play for 3 hours. That's a normal casino visit. Total action, $6,000. Expected loss, $6,000. Times 2% equals $120. On a $1,000 starting bankroll, you're statistically expected to lose $120, about 12% of what you walked in with. Now watch what happens when we change just one variable. If you play perfect basic strategy and get the edge down to 0.5%, expected loss drops to $30 for the same session. That's the difference basic strategy makes. $90 saved. If you move to a faster table or play alone with the dealer at 150 hands per hour instead of 80, expected loss nearly doubles to over $220. If you increase your bet to $50 a hand, expected loss doubles again. 3 levers control your expected loss at Blackjack: house edge, bet size, speed of play. The casino controls the speed. The casino controls the game rules that affect the edge. You control your bet size and whether you use basic strategy. Those are the only 2 variables you actually own. Here's something most casual players have no idea about. The house edge in Blackjack isn't fixed. It changes, sometimes dramatically, based on the specific rules at the table you're sitting at. The single biggest rule to watch for is what the casino pays when you get a blackjack: an ace and a face card on your first 2 cards. Traditional blackjack pays 3-2 on a blackjack. That means a $25 bet wins you $37.50. Many casinos, especially on the Las Vegas Strip and in tourist-heavy rooms, have quietly shifted to paying 6-5 on blackjack instead. That one change alone adds about 1.4% to the house edge. In plain terms, at a 6-5 table, the casino is keeping nearly 3 times as much of your money per session compared to a proper 3-2 table. Other rules that quietly raise the house edge: dealer hits on soft 17 instead of standing, adds 0.2%. Only one deck allowed to be resplit, small edge increase. No doubling after splits, adds 0.14%. None of these are posted in big letters at the table. You have to know to look for them. On the same $25 bet, 3-hour session, 80 hands per hour, a 3-2 table, with basic strategy, expected loss around $30. A 6-5 table with average play, expected loss over $180. Same game, different table, are 6 times the cost. That's not bad luck. That's not variance. That's a rules change the casino made that most players never notice. So let's go back to that $1,000. You walked in with a budget. You sat at whatever table had an open seat. You played the way felt right, and you lost most of it. Here's what was actually happening the whole time. The house edge, inflated by gut feel decisions, was probably running between 2 and 3%. The speed of the table was putting $1,500 to $2,000 into action every hour. And if you were at a 6-5 table, which is increasingly common, the edge was even higher than you knew. None of that is bad luck. All of it is math. Now here's the honest takeaway. Blackjack is genuinely one of the better bets in a casino. If you learn basic strategy, and it takes about an hour, and you find a 3-2 table, you are giving yourself the best odds of any table game on the floor. But even then, the house still has an edge. Even then, the volume of hands works against you over time. Even then, the expected loss is real and calculable. There is no system that flips the math in your favor without card counting, which is its own video entirely. What you can do is walk in informed. Know your 3 levers. Know your table rules. Know what your session is statistically expected to cost before the first card hits the felt. That's not pessimism. That's just the math. If you want to see how these same principles apply to sports betting, poker, or real estate, subscribe. New video every week. I'm POW. This is the House Math. See you next week.